Hello everybody, it's Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have a fail tale. And as we continue our pivot into games and game mechanics, we're going to speak about another fail within the original basic and 1E versions of Dungeons & Dragons and Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And today I'm going to talk to you about one very specific role that's brought up in the rule books for an adventuring party. How many of you remember the caller? No, I'm not talking about somebody who's using a telephone and is being some kind of a creepy stalker. I'm talking about the caller in the original basic Dungeons & Dragons specifically, and also as it morphed into Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. You remember what a caller is? Well, I'm sure you remember the Dungeon Master. And of course you remember the mapper, or whoever was doing the mapping for the group. Remember, this is early days, so everything was pretty much on a map. You were drawing on grid paper and drawing as you went along and had it described to you. Well, what was the caller? Well, back in the earliest days of D&D, the expectation was, and having played some with the original guys, there would be one person who would address the DM and tell the DM what the group was doing. So, for instance, the caller would say, yeah, our group in this order, whether they were using characters or dice or something to represent their marching order, are continuing down the corridor, and our thief is checking the floor in front of us in 10-foot increments to make sure that we're not stumbling into a trap. Our fighter is walking with his sword out and his shield up and keenly observing the floors, the ceilings, the walls, everything to make sure that there's no hidden dangers that he needs to protect us from. The cleric is, and etc., etc., etc. Well, what for? I mean, the powers that shall remain unnamed in the game did want it that way. And if you played with them, that was expected. I never really saw the point. The reality is that, yes, somebody always falls into the role of saying to the DM, we as a group are going to go this way. But it's usually after internal discussion, and you're still interacting directly with each and every individual player and their character in the group, not just interacting with the group. The caller kind of gave an extra layer between you and the DM. That really wasn't necessary. It didn't speed up gameplay, quite the opposite. It slowed down gameplay. And of course, then you get into the dynamics of players arguing about who's in charge and who's doing what. It's inevitable. So the caller was intended to prevent that at the table. Frankly, that was one of the big things that was intended, is okay, everything is now harmonized, and this person is interacting with the DM and things will move faster. It's like adding an extra layer of middle management. It really didn't accomplish much of anything. Well, yes it did. It slowed things down. It was easier for the DM to interact directly with the individual players and listen to their discourse and agreement as to what they were doing in general as a party. Yes, we're all heading towards the river. Joe's character is in the lead and is checking things out on point. But there was no real caller. I'm saying this because I'm talking to you in this program, but Joe would be the one saying, hey, I'm going to head out. I'm not waiting for the rest of them. They can follow me if they want. I'm going down towards the river, and I'm keeping my eye out for anything that might be unusual threatening. Fine. It was easier and faster to deal with the individual characters. It's the DM's job to make sure that time is fairly apportioned amongst the players and their actions so that everybody is fully engaged. Once again, everybody is in the game to have fun. It's because you look forward to it, you enjoy it, you want to do this. If you want to do this, make the game flow freely, kind of like the Force, and part of the way that you do that is removing obstacles or, well, yeah, that's really what it is. It's just obstacles, roadblocks, things that slow down the pace of the game. And a caller was not something that made the game go faster. So though it's specified in the rules, it's not something that, I haven't seen a group, honestly, it's got to be like 40 years or more since I've last seen a group that actually had somebody who said they were the caller. It just wasn't necessary. That's okay. They didn't have a big enough play group, I guess, to really get that all sorted out. And there were a few people involved with the development of the game who were very, well, let's just say very focused on making sure that the rules like that were followed. So that's what the caller was. And as you can see, it's not something that's popular today in Dungeons & Dragons. And it's really not necessary. The interaction between the individuals and the Dungeon Master, as long as it's direct and it flows freely, I think is always going to be faster than staging that through yet another person who's directing the overall group efforts and still leaving the DM to do whatever interactions are needed with the individual players on a separate basis. It just extends everything. So, that's what I think. I think it's a major fail. I think the caller was unnecessary at all, but it may not be a total failure because I think it helped people figure out that there were better ways. And if you were invested in the game, you recognized pretty quickly that you didn't really need to do this. So, that's what it is. I hope you found this interesting, amusing, entertaining, educational, all that kind of good stuff. If you did, please give us a like, consider subscribing, drop us a comment, share with your friends. Thank you very much for all your kind support, and remember, dwarves rock!